Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Nina. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm so happy that you're here. Nice to meet you. I'm Nina, and usually I'm teaching guitar tutorials for beginners, lots of Taylor Swift songs, and also quite a few videos about songwriting. But today I wasn't sure what I was gonna film, and then I just decided that I wanted to film this video. I haven't really made a video like this that's kind of super candid and not like super planned out. But basically what I wanted to do in this video is just talk to you guys about how learning to play the guitar has changed my whole life, and every single phase of my life has been impacted by my ability to play guitar. And maybe if you're watching this video, you're wondering if you should learn how to play guitar. And so I'm hoping that me kind of like opening up and sharing with you guys my journey with guitar, that you guys will see how something as simple as a piece of wood with strings on it can drastically impact your life. This morning I sat down and I was trying to like type notes out for this, and I was having all of these realizations, and I'm just so excited to share with you guys all of my thoughts about this. And of course, as always, I have the chai latte with me, so we're gonna spill some tea. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was basically just how it all began. How did I get to this point in my life where I'm teaching people guitar on the internet? When I was really little, I was always fascinated by instruments and musical things. Like whenever I was over at another little kid's house and they had like a toy guitar or a toy piano, that was like my go-to. That was the thing that I wanted to do. And also my aunt plays guitar, so when we were little, we would go visit her all the time down in San Diego, and she would have two guitars sitting on the stands in her living room, and I would just instantly want to like drag my fingers back and forth across the strings. I was just really fascinated with the instrument. What happened was my aunt gave me her old guitar, and it was like the neck was like breaking in half, hanging on by a thread. So I had that guitar for a year, I think when I was like 8 years old. I didn't know how to play any chords, so it literally was just me like strumming the strings, and I didn't have a pick, so I like broke off pieces of cardboard from like a cereal box, and I was just like going to town on the strings, and it sounded awful, obviously. If you think about an out of tune, broken guitar, and you're not playing any chords, it just doesn't sound good. But I loved doing that, and I was like trying to write songs, and of course they were all in one key, one note the whole time because I'm just like banging on the guitar. As a kid, I was a very anxious child. And still to this day, I don't know why, I'm just built that way. I was just like a very anxious kid. I had insomnia when I was little. I wouldn't want to go to sleep. I would have trouble falling asleep, staying asleep, all of that jazz. And so playing guitar ended up being one of the things I would do when I couldn't sleep, to like make me tired and all of that. When my aunt's old guitar, eventually the neck like broke off and the guitar like broke in half. For my birthday, my parents got me this little beginner set, this Fender set, and got me a guitar teacher. And so every Monday, this middle-aged man would come to my house, and he loved the Beatles, rock and roll, Bon Jovi, wanted to teach me all of these classic rock songs, and I was just like, can we learn like Taylor Swift or like any new song that was on Disney Channel that week? From I think I was 9 years old until I was 14, I had a 30-minute guitar lesson every single Monday. I learned chords. I didn't really learn notes. I think my teacher tried to teach me like music theory a little bit, but I just wasn't interested. All I wanted to do was learn like Taylor Swift songs. Like I loved country music, like any popular Disney Channel song, or like if I heard a song that I could hear acoustic guitar in, I would always come in every Monday and tell my teacher, I want to learn this song. And that's kind of how I learned. I learned guitar by learning songs and working towards learning a full song. And you know, when you're a kid, you don't really want to practice. So it's like, because I wasn't really good at playing guitar yet, I didn't want to play it. I didn't want to like, it was always like once you learned one song, you only wanted to play that song because you were really good at playing it. And then when you get introduced something that's new and a little more difficult, you're like, I don't want to practice because I can't play that yet, or whatever. So it was kind of hard for me when I was going through lessons, those 5 years of my, childhood, to really focus on practicing, getting better, whatever, I eventually did get to the point in those 5 years where I could play a song strumming, I could switch chords fast, like I had the basics down. Even though I didn't realize it, playing guitar really gave me a constant in my life, something to kind of focus on. Being able to sit in a room and practice guitar for like 2 hours and not realizing 2 hours had gone by was literally like a coping mechanism for stress that I didn't even realize when I was a kid. When I think about how guitar changed my life, I don't really think, it didn't feel that important to me when I was a kid at all. It was just something cool that I could do, you know? Now, as an adult, looking back, there's a lot of things that make sense now that I didn't realize guitar gave me, and that was the ability to hyper-focus on something. And recently, I found out that I have ADHD, and I feel like I knew I always had a problem focusing, but it's like, you know, in girls, it's way more common to have like an inattentive presentation of ADHD rather than like disruptive, hyperactive that usually is associated with boys having ADHD. So now figuring that out as an adult and looking back, it's just so obvious, and there's so many things that make sense about me being able to stick with guitar and not being able to focus on other hobbies, and like kind of going through these phases where I would hyper focus on one thing for like 3 months. I would find a new hobby. I would want to start knitting, and then I would get bored of that, and then I'd move on and I'd be obsessed with this TV show, and then like, you know, you go through the phases of obsessions. And then with guitar, it never was a phase. I was always interested in it. And when you're really interested in something, you're able to focus on it more. So I definitely think learning guitar as a kid helped me kind of manage my attention and gave me a place to go and a constant that was always there. So as I was getting older, I wanted to learn more songs. I was listening to so much more music. I became very interested in lyrics, and I think being exposed to that much music really allowed me to feel very deeply and be able to understand my emotions at a very young age, I feel like. When you sit down to learn how to play a song with your guitar or any other musical instrument, it really forces you to slow down and really listen to the music. When you're practicing something over and over, it's going to stick in your head, and you start out really slow and you can really like let the words sink in. It really makes you think about what the artist is trying to say, what it all means. It really like expands your mind. And the fact that you're spending time listening and learning music opens up a whole different part of your brain. These days, it's so easy to ignore the creative part of your brain because I feel like we're always exercising that logical, critically thinking, judging side of our brain. Especially the past few years in our daily lives have just been so consumed by reality that we kind of ignore that other part of our brain that we use for learning music and being creative. Playing guitar really helps me step outside of myself and like you take a step back, and it gives you such perspective because it's just like you and this piece of wood, and you can create something out of nothing. And every time I think about it that way, it just like blows my mind. So kind of moving on a little bit here, when I went to high school, after I stopped taking lessons, I think I was 14, I put down the guitar for a while because I wasn't being forced to take lessons and I didn't really like play it a lot. But when you get to high school, man, and it's just, some people think high school was like the best time. For me, it was not the best time whatsoever. I was just having a lot of like anxiety and like problems with my friends, and just the whole 4 years was a bit of a mess. I remember I picked back up the guitar at the very end of my freshman year to learn Taylor Swift's song Mean, because I had that song on repeat for weeks, and I'm like, it's like I almost forgot that I knew how to play guitar. And I was like, oh, it'd be kind of fun to learn this song on guitar. I feel like I would attach to a song that I was feeling and like explaining what I was going through, and I'd be like, I want to learn this, and somehow learning that song on guitar is very cathartic, and it like is like, it really like helps you feel that emotion and be able to heal it, if you know what I mean. So I learned Mean, and then I found other Taylor Swift songs, and I started learning all of the Taylor Swift songs that summer, and by the time it was the end of that year, I pretty much knew every single Taylor Swift song that was in existence at that point. So whenever I was having a hard day at school, and I'd get home after a long day, and I'd pick up my guitar, and I'd learn a new song, I'd just like sing. I just play and sing. It gave me something to kind of ground me and release the emotion, and just this whole other dimension of self-expression that I could turn to when I didn't know where else to go. My guitar literally became like a fifth limb in high school. It was just like a part of me. I don't know how to explain. And I feel like as time went on, it just became more and more like connected to me in my life and affected everything that I did and was interested in and passionate about. Really shaped the way my college experience went completely. Because when I went to college and I brought my guitars with me, I had done this talent show, and it was the first time I ever performed in front of anyone, and in my mind I was just like, I don't know any of these people. They don't know me, they don't know my past, and I was always scared to like sing for people and like perform, and I never thought I was ever gonna do that because it was just like too much anxiety. Like I just fully avoided all social things. So when I got to college and I had that opportunity and I sang, I remember so vividly like everything about that moment, but I played 15 by Taylor Swift on my red guitar, and that experience was something that like literally paved the way for the rest of my college career and also what I do now. If you had told me in high school that I'd be like playing guitar and posting videos on the internet and singing and had like thousands of people watching me, I would be like, you're kidding. Like I did not believe that would ever happen at all. So when I finally did perform for other people, it became like a part of me, what people associated me with. I started songwriting in high school. I should have said that, but I've always been like a writer, but I never would have found songwriting if I didn't know how to play guitar. They weren't always good songs, but it was another way for me to like just empty myself of all of my worries, anxieties, issues, things I was going through, whatever. And all I really needed was 4 chords and a strumming pattern, and my mental health would improve. So in college is really when I started really writing songs and really focusing on that part of me and realizing like, oh, maybe I'm good at writing, and not just songs, but I started taking English classes and I took creative writing classes, ended up switching my major to English because I realized that I really liked writing. I joined the church choir and I played guitar in the choir, and I learned so much from that experience, and I was playing guitar every single day. Literally had never been more content with myself and who I was as a person. The fact that I was able to stick with this instrument from the time I was like 9 and 10 years old until, now I'm 24. I've never focused on anything that long. Let me tell you, I've never really had a job for more than 4 months before I decided to quit or move on or whatever. I have new hobbies all the time. I think, oh, I'm gonna do this, and then I get bored or I get disinterested, and then it's like I have these hyper-focusing things, obsessions, shows, songs. Obviously, I've been obsessed with Taylor Swift, but the one thing that has never changed is my ability to play guitar. And it's something that I am so grateful for every single day, that I was able to, as a kid, get that foundation, not really appreciate it at the time or know how much it was helping me as a person and my mental health, being able to analyze lyrics and see what these songs are about and expand my knowledge in that way. There's so much that playing guitar has given me. Ability to manage my attention span, being able to sit down and focus on something and want to, and be passionate about it. Because I feel like people don't give guitar enough of a chance in the beginning. Someone will buy a guitar, pick up a guitar, get gifted a guitar and they're like, okay, I'm gonna learn guitar this year, like New Year's resolution or like just goals, and they sit down, they try to learn it, maybe they'll give it a few weeks, maybe some people even give it a few months, and then decide it's too hard or like they can't get past that initial phase where it is hard at first. But I'm telling you, once you get like 4 chords down, the sky is the limit after that, truly. It's like riding a bike. Once you learn, it's like you will pretty much always remember. For me, even if I had put the guitar down for a year, I still had it to come back to when I needed it. Literally this morning, when I was like kind of just like rambling in my notes app of my phone, I like had this huge realization. I'm like, I have absolutely no idea where I would be or even who the heck I would be if I did not have my guitar, if I didn't know how to play my guitar. It's like crazy for me to think about. Like if you took away guitar / being able to play music from Nena Shelby McGrade, I'm really not sure what would be there, because it has affected literally every aspect of my life and so many decisions that I've made. It's just crazy to think about. It's like a snowball effect, because I feel like playing guitar led me to have a really big interest in music, which led me to finding new songs, new artists to listen to, really paying attention to lyrics. And then I found Taylor Swift, and then I wanted to learn all of Taylor Swift's songs. And from Taylor Swift, she has had a huge impact on my life, my songwriting, and the way I play guitar. I mean, I literally teach Taylor Swift songs on YouTube as like a job. It's insane. And I know for a fact I would not be as connected to Taylor Swift and her music if I didn't play her songs every single day on my guitar. Like, I feel so strongly connected to her lyrics and everything, because when I'm playing and singing her songs, it's like such like a part of me. And I also think I would not be able to write my songs the way that I do now if I didn't have her influence. And I'm not saying you need to play guitar in order to write songs, because plenty of people write songs without instruments. But for me, I don't think I would have been able to access that part of myself if I didn't have the guitar. Like, without a medium for me to create something, all I would have is potential and kind of like the promise of creating something. I'm getting so deep right now. And I never would have been able to teach so many people across the entire world their first song on guitar. I just got chills. That was crazy. I know I've been talking for a million years, but there's just one last thing I want to share with you guys. And that's kind of like, how did I get to this point right now where I am teaching people on the internet how to play guitar, even though I know I am not the best at guitar, and there's so many people on YouTube that are teaching guitar that are so much better than me as guitarists. Like, how did I get good enough at guitar to be able to tell you what to do, you know? Like, I freaking hate bar chords still. Honestly, not really good at them. There's still songs that I come across and I'm like, that's too hard for me. I don't think I'm ever gonna be able to play that song. It's just too difficult. I get super intimidated by people who are really good at guitar, and I'm always worried that people on here think I'm kind of like an imposter because I'm not the best and I'm trying to teach people. But it's almost like that's the point. For me, I spent years and years and years learning from YouTube, specifically guitar, because I have seen so many teachers on here and so many tutorials. And to me, it's kind of like a really smart math teacher that is trying to explain to a high schooler a really basic formula or problem. And because they're so smart and can understand and have all this experience, it's hard to put yourself in the shoes of someone who doesn't know that yet and hasn't learned it yet. So I'm thinking, like, sometimes on YouTube you get these really great guitar players, and it's hard to step into the shoes of a beginner. As a beginner, you need more help explaining, or if you can explain it in a way that you know that's going to be easier for someone who's starting out to understand. And for me, I was like, since I know what it's like to learn from YouTube and what I wish someone would have explained more or gone more in depth into or broke it down so slowly that I could keep up with it. That's just kind of what I wanted to do. And I think when I started posting these videos, I had no idea like where I was going with it or what I wanted to accomplish, but I truly think that's what it is. It's putting myself in the shoes of beginners and really honing in to when I was learning guitar as like a 10-year-old or like, you know, what I really needed someone to teach me, and so that I can make it easier for people to understand, essentially. Even though there's still times when you guys ask me to teach you things and I myself am having a hard time figuring it out. So I think in the end it is so intimidating to learn a musical instrument when you have no knowledge about it at all. It seems like this big thing. What I want to show you is that it's not that big. It's actually can be very simple, and it doesn't have to be a lot, you know? You don't have to like dedicate all this time and to practicing guitar and expect it to change your life like it did kind of for me. But there are these little stepping stones you can take, and that's kind of what I want to get across to you guys. First, you start by learning one of your favorite songs that you think is pretty simple. Okay, you learn one chord, you learn two chords, you learn three, and then you learn four. You do some strumming, and then you add in more. You go really, really slow. You do it like 10 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day. You pick up the guitar and strum it once a day. Like, it doesn't take much, it just takes a lot of little steps. You don't need to expect yourself to be like amazing at it as soon as you start. You need to have the confidence that I had at 8 years old banging on that guitar. You just need to like tell yourself, I gotta give this a chance. And I'm so grateful for this platform and the ability to teach and also learn in a way that's so accessible. Like there's so many like free guitar lessons on YouTube. There's so much knowledge you can learn on here. It's all right there. It's all right there. You have everything that you need. Maybe if you don't have a guitar, maybe try to invest in one of those, obviously. But if you're watching this video because you are wondering if you should give it a chance, I hope that by hearing what it has done for me kind of shows you what could happen if you just take that first step. Because you don't know how much this could actually impact you and the path that you take. You know, when Taylor Swift was 12, the person that taught her first 3 chords was the guy that came to fix the computer in the house. He saw the guitar in the corner and was like, oh, would you like to learn some chords? And she was like, sure. Imagine if Taylor Swift never said sure. Like, I'm sure she was destined for greatness. And of course, I always find a way to bring up Taylor Swift here, but what if you just said, yeah, let's do it. Let's see if this could really be something. For some reason, I always want to get super inspirational and motivational in the end here, but I really hope you guys liked this video and liked hearing kind of my story with guitar and how it's changed my life. I would really love you guys to comment down below and tell me if guitar has changed your life, or if you're thinking about playing guitar, if you're just starting out. Just let me know where you are in your guitar journey. I would love to know. And if you guys have any more questions, feel free to leave those also down below. Anyways, I know this is a little different from what content I normally post, but I hope you guys liked it. Let me know if you want more videos like this. Feel free to subscribe if you want to see more content from me, tutorials, and other random things. Thank you guys for being here. I love you guys so much, and just best of luck to you guys on your guitar journey. You won't regret it. That's all I'm gonna say. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye! Am I gonna say it? Am I gonna say it? I've already been talking for 5 minutes. What have I said? I don't even know.